We here at Angry Me Production want to thank our sponsor, Mobile Notary Mindy. She's certified with the National Notary Association. She's also bonded and E&O insured. She offers a wide range of services including wills, powers of attorney, medical documents, healthcare proxies, living wills, certification of trust, assignment of personal property, HIPAA waivers, advanced healthcare directives, and 99 verification. You can find her on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Mobile Notary Mindy. You can also visit her webpage at TexasMobileNotaryMindy.com. That's TXMobileNotaryMindy.com. Thank you so much and enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen of all ages, boys and girls, thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Angry Meat Production. We appreciate you coming in and letting us be a part of your lives week in and week out. We hope to do our best to present you with something that your eardrums delight in. Whether you're looking at us on YouTube or Rumble, or listening to us on Spotify, Google, or Anchor, or any of the other podcast services that we are currently on or trying to get on, we thank you. And if you don't mind, at the end of every episode, stop by, leave us a comment, leave us a like. If it asks for 5 stars, we'll take 5 stars, even if you don't like us. 5 stars are what it's all about. With that being said, we hope you enjoy our attempt to make our advocation our vocation. Ladies and gentlemen, let the games begin.
Welcome, Angry Faithful. Today, me and Kenny go into a really deep hole. Enjoy. I had to address MDK. I did look at a lot of the stuff that he sent, which I knew about the Eisenhower video. I didn't know about what did it, Butler. Smedley Butler. But I didn't know about that. I never knew there was like an insurrection like in the 1930s. But it was in the Depression, so I kind of understand that. And how he was talking about how don't say theory at the end of conspiracy. Okay. Say how I reversed it so it doesn't sound like psychological. It kind of is to where your mind works in a psychological way, like he said, to where you don't think that's true. You just think of it as a joke and everything. But if you say it as just a conspiracy, I could see what he's saying was actually correct.
Of course. We were talking about, they've got programs where that's all they do is practice words and how to phrase things.
Well,
to spin it and scare the public.
Johnny keeps on talking about this, and I had him send me what the book was. I'm going to have Stephen Hawking do his last name. What's the guy's last name? It's Saul
Alinsky.
Saul Alinsky, Rules for Radicals. And basically what Johnny keeps on saying is there was an incident with George H.W. Bush, how he was in Congress, he was doing this speech, and what had happened was there a group of protesters, and instead of protesting outside, they protested inside, but they were dressed like KKK members. Anytime Bush said anything about the Vietnam War and how we're doing a good job or anything like that, the people dressed as KKK members would go out and scream up, "Yay, yay, yeah!"
Cheer it and make it look like right radicals of them.
Mm-hmm.
Warmongers.
But Bush was a supportive of the KKK members.
Of course, it's all about optics.
Yeah, but. Yeah, a lot of the stuff that MDK sent and posted on the comments, and the only way you can read those comments, and you were having problems.
Yeah, I seen that there was comments, but I couldn't.
Yeah, you had to put it in the newest. I literally saved it into 2 different sections. I saved it on my Microsoft Word, and I saved it on my notes. And we read it before the show just to get a perspective of what he was talking about. And we watched the videos together. I'll say he's right on that. There's a lot of stuff that, the stuff that you were talking about last episode about the going back to the gold standard. He might be right on that. I was looking into it a little bit, and you bombarded me the most on stuff that we could talk about. All of it interesting. Honestly, I'll let you know. Most of the stuff that you send me is interesting, but I am I'm
overwhelmed with other stuff. I get
yes, and I hate not giving my full attention to something. When I focus on something, I focus on something. That's why I like handing stuff off to other people, especially like you. You come in and talk about, you know, your conspiracy, what's going on. And I was talking about the social money in China, what they're doing right now. What they're doing right now.
Social money or social credit score?
Social credit score that extends to the social money. It's right now because they're kind of in a revolution. Go figure, communist country. There was a time, if you look back, USSR, every 5 years there would be an insurrection. They would rebel because, you know, they didn't have any food and they didn't have anything that was, they were all poor, hungry, and they wanted a better life, which in our country, but we're able to work hard, create ourselves a little niche, and hopefully the government doesn't topple it over.
Hopefully.
But
it's like we were talking the other day. We live in America, the land of the free, but do you own anything?
you technically do own stuff, but you still get rent control on it, so because you have to pay
It's
taxes.
like you buy your property, but you still have to pay taxes on it, or they'll seize it. You
Did that used to be the
own
case?
your car, but you have to keep insurance and tags on it, or they'll pound it.
Okay, we'll go back to the main topic that I was talking about, and then we'll go back to that. Because
No, we don't have to.
No. Well, we will. I guess you're right on the social credit score. Basically, what it was, and this is how I explained it, because he was a black gentleman, and I told him what it is happening over there. The easiest way to explain it, you can't really explain going against the government and saying something against the government and getting knocked out, because we have that kind of here.
They'll censor you. I don't know that they'll take you out because you rebelled against.
Well, we won't go super dive onto that, because I want to explain this about China, because this is the worst case scenario, and I do not want this here. This is something that we need to fight in Congress. We need to talk to our congressmen, talk to anybody that would listen to us that we voted for to go back us as representatives in Congress. And we need to start fucking fighting for the shit.
What is that exactly?
Fighting for not being put on a social standard.
That's not going to happen.
Hopefully.
No, we are going to a social standard.
Then we need to fight against it.
We're totally in pocket with the ESG and the World Economic Forum. You know that, right?
Hopefully that changes in a couple of years.
Okay, so Biden has said that.
No. That's our standing precedent right now. That's the thing about the United States. We have a standing precedent. Everybody's like, oh, this is going to happen because this president right now is pushing for it. They push for stuff.
It has nothing to do with Biden. It's the United States is 100% in on it.
People in Congress.
Government.
We'll just say government.
Rogue agencies.
Rogue agencies.
I like that word.
To get to the main point of what's happening in China, people right now can't get access to their banks. They're not allowed to touch their money or anything. There was a person that was visiting China. They got a phone so they can do their stuff in China. I think she was like visiting family there. She showed that she couldn't even access her phone and her accounts and everything because they're in a rebellion.
You say the wrong thing, you think the wrong thing, or you act a certain way and they lock you out of your life.
Exactly. There's people that are starving and everything.
So Justin Trudeau, during all the COVID emergency shit, he said that China was the standard and that they're moving towards the perfect society. Biden doubled down on that by saying China. He misspoke and said China. And then he corrected himself saying Trudeau was a leading example, which he's just modeling his practices after China.
I think I seen something like that. But
everybody that contributed to the trucker,
oh yeah,
whatever that was. But everybody that volunteered or donated money to that, their accounts were frozen. Yeah. Their PayPals were shut down. PayPal charged people $2,500 for donating to that. I think Chase and Apple Bank also were involved in
Canada's trucker protest. February 2020.
It was called the Freedom Convoy.
Okay, yeah, this is what it's about. The so-called Freedom Convoy protest was sparked by a mandate that required Canadian cross-border truckers to be vaccinated against the COVID-19, so they didn't want to be tracked by the government. Wink, wink. Tracking fucking people.
They were talking about tracking people that have been vaccinated. You have to have your card.
There was I'll call it crazy. They
The
had
social credit score
They had
has-
some kind of GPS nanites into the vaccine, and when it's introduced in you, they're able to track you no matter what. I think you're right.
The vaccine passports were the big part of it.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
not what they
China-
called it. But
China-
you had to have You had to have the vaccine card to get access to international travel. It was like a passport.
Yeah.
You couldn't go
No,
anywhere
no,
if you
no.
didn't have the card.
No, you're
And
right.
the social credit score thing is going to play into that too. If you don't get your vaccines that they say you got to have, your credit score is going to fall, and you're not going to have access to your cell phone or your internet or
Yeah.
your bank account. Why is that?
Because we have people that are in the fucking office that can't even stay awake. Or
We are a society of consumers, and they want us to consume.
And this is coming from the New York Times. Canada ends its freeze on hundreds of accounts tied to protests. After the account denied bail to one arrested protest organizer, the government said it was winding up its pursuit of people involved in the unrest. And this was in Ottawa, with the capital streets cleared of heavy trucks and cars that made some of them impassable for 3 long weeks of protest. I like how they used the word 3 long weeks. They didn't say 3 weeks. It was 3 long weeks to emphasize how much it was a horrible thing that these protesters were doing.
Exactly.
What MDK emphasizes is the words mean things. Canada authorities said Tuesday that the banks have begun unlocking accounts on Monday and that no more finances would be locked up.
Hey, you want to talk about how JP Morgan caused the stock market crash? You obviously haven't watched that video yet.
No, I haven't.
I think
you
there's
had me
about a
2
20-minute
videos.
section in there talking about how he caused it. Boom, right there. 4th down.
Caused Great Depression.
Stock market crash.
Okay.
You fucker clicked the wrong link.
I did not.
Now you got to type it in again. No. Boom.
There we go.
On October
stock.
24th, 1929, Black Thursday, this massive sell-a-thon began. The late afternoon, wealthy financiers like JP Morgan pulled their resources and began to buy stocks in hopes of reversing the trend. But the bottom fell out of the market on Tuesday, October 29th.
The bankers who caused the 1929 stock market crash at the outset of the Depression, Charles Mitchell, was the most wanted banker in America. Today, his name is largely been forgotten. Around noon on one of the worst days in history of Wall Street, Charles E. Mitchell hurled up the steps of the House of Morgan, a two-story gray building across from the New York Stock Exchange. It was October 24th, 1929. The disaster had struck when the market opened. Stocks plummeted so fast that the exchange ticker tape couldn't keep up with the frenzy. He had reshaped the very idea of America banking as head of National City Bank and helped fuel the 1920s bull market, which was now in jeopardy. Inside the House of Morgan, Mitchell and bankers J.P. Morgan Jr., Thomas Lummett, and Albert Wiggins decided to go on a stock buying spree to inject confidence into the investors. The moment spread at the exchange, and miraculously, this market stabilized.
It's funny how that happens, right? So they go in, everything's plummeting. They buy it at low, low, low. They buy up everything. They're making it sound like these guys were saviors when all they were doing was picking through the corpses of dead stock markets.
Yeah. Mitchell believes the worst had passed. I see nothing to worry about, he told reporters, but that day was a Black Thursday, and the next week brought Black Monday and Black Tuesday. The defining days of 1929 stock crash and an event that signed the beginning of the Great Depression. A few weeks later, when the smoke cleared through the assets, the damage, several leaders pointed at Mitchell once again. This time, his status as the ideal banker meant he represented something far grimmer. Senator Carter Glass said later, he more than any 50 men is responsible for this stock market crash. That's what's really weird. There's a lot of peaks before a big crash, but the only reason why that is because I think what you're describing is a lot of people are buying it really low.
That's after the peak. So people will buy consecutively building up, and then once it starts rising, other people,
Or they're selling.
they're saying, "Oh shit's rising," so we're going to jump in and start buying. So the prices rise.
Okay.
So all these people that have been collectively buying, they've doubled, tripled, quadrupled their profits. So they start selling. So they have large quantities that they're dumping at a massive fucking price increase. And that causes the downpour. When it causes a dip, everybody else is like, oh shit, I'm losing money. You know, I'm going to sell this before I lose. Oh shit, I lost $100. I don't want to lose 1,000. So they'll sell it. And that causes it to go even further. Once it passes that line, it's the dip.
This one right here that's under 100.
That's when people don't know when to buy, because if you buy there and it keeps going low, you're just going to keep losing money. Your money becomes worth less.
Yeah, but if
Generally-
it's a gamble.
Right. Well, so what happened is there has never been anything like this in the past before this. This is like an everyday occurrence now.
Nowadays.
Right.
Citibank didn't just ride the wave, it created the demand. Mitchell who was named city's president in 1921, helped advertising in magazines and on billboards and dispatching salesmen into churches and train stations to drum up customers.
So how do you think they got all those new branches? They bought up dying banks.
Yeah.
So all the banks that went under, they bought them for nickels on the dollar. So now they've got all of these new branches. They own the market.
All right. But the visible made
Citi-
Citibank, let's just say Citi because it just says Citi, but it's Citibank, a top destination for people coming into new money. As one reporter noted at the time, Mitchell banks from frightful places into department stores. Okay. Okay. In 1920s, the Citibank sold for $20 billion worth of securities. They figured said to be the highest total in the country. The bounty did wonders for Citibank, which became the national largest bank and saw its stock rapidly rise. For Mitchell, because he bought homes in the Hamptons and Tuxedo Park, a massive $20 million fortune, which in today's, it would be $250 million. Primary residence was an Italian residence-style mansion bordering Central Park.
I wonder what an Italian Renaissance-style mansion would look like.
And that's the fun thing about the internet. We can find out. But he lived there with his family and staff of 16 lived in help. God, could you imagine that?
I lived in a house with 16 people.
No, I mean, have that. You lived in a room with 16 people.
Well, it was a house. It wasn't nothing like that.
Well, yeah, but having like servant quarters and everything. You know, I've gotten to the point I would like to have a big house. But, okay, President Warren Harding, in a letter to the banker, described the work that Mitchell and Citi were inspiring as much as a patriotic contribution by motives of enterprise and profit. Yeah, thank you. The flaws of the bull market, the foundation of the soaring stock market was built on a couple of questionable strategies propagated by Citi and other investment banks. Is this going to be the same as 2008? Many traders bought stocks for negative 10% of the cost, borrowing the remaining money with interest from brokers who represented the banks in the early 1920s. Banks held executive stock offerings at a low buy-in. They would make the stock available to the general public at high prices, allowing the bankers and their elite partners to sell their shares for quick profit. Oh my God.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They bought a bunch of shit, and then they started letting people start buying it back to try to keep
At higher price, yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
not
it's
like they
public.
weren't saviors of the stock market. It crashed, of course, but where is it going to go? Like, not the world's going to come to an end. People are going to have to start buying shit again.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that happened during that time frame, we also had the Dust Bowl. A lot of farmers weren't able to plant and keep the plants growing.
There were no trades.
Yeah.
People weren't making any money. They couldn't make
They
the
couldn't
payments
sell
on their-
anything because, you know, you had. Let me pull up the Dust Bowl because that was a big factor too. All right, going into the Great Depression Dust Bowl. We'll just do the Texas Archives. The term Dust Bowl describes devastating drought and accompanied with dust storms known as dusters and black blizzards. What the hell is a black blizzard? That I have never heard.
It's just another term for Dust Bowl.
Yeah, it's just okay. It is just another term for It affected 100 million acres of North America prairie in the 1930s. The most severe affected areas were pathways to Oklahoma and West Texas, surrounding regions of Kansas, New Mexico, and Colorado. Naturally occurred drought conditions were
Exacerbated.
Thank you very much. By the environmental destruction of plants throughout the 1920s, when the farmers plowed up the natural grass and replaced it with various cash crops, especially wheat and cotton. They were profitable for a short time, but left a topsoil unprotected. As a result, the Dust Bowl, Ouachita, Texas Panhandle was affected, wiping out, causing approximately 34% of farmers to leave the region. Between 1935 and 1937, beginning in the late 1930s, the federal government responded to the disaster with programs by agencies such as Drought Relief Services and Civil Convention Crops. By the mid-1940s, the drought had been lifted from the regions.
It's the Civil Conservation Corps, the CCC.
Okay.
People that were unemployed worked for like X amount of dollars a day.
Yeah.
Doing bridges and paving roads and shit.
Let me see something. Yeah. Because a lot of the stuff that happened, FDR, a lot of the stuff that what's called the New Deal back then.
The Great New Deal.
Yeah, the Great New Deal. He was the one that implemented a lot of the Social Security stuff. A lot of the welfare stuff that we have now was implemented by him because of the Great Depression and everything. But like they always say, if you have a crisis, you have an opportunity.
Never let a good crisis go to waste.
Yeah, exactly. That New Deal program, which he did, that's what's hurting us now.
We'll click on it. Let's see what the Great New Deal was about. I don't remember.
We'll just go to Wikipedia on this one. The New Deal was a series of programs, public work projects, and financial reform and regulations enacted by President Franklin D. Roosevelt in the United States between 1933 and 1939. Major federal programs agency was Civil Conservation Corps, Work Progress Administration, Civil Work Administration, Farm Security Administration, National Industrial Recovery Act of 1933, and the Social Security Administration. These provided support for farmers, unemployed, youth, and the elderly. The New Deal included new constraints and safeguards on the bank industry in efforts to reinflate the economy after prices had fallen sharply. The New Deal program included both law passed by Congress as well as presidential executive orders during the first term of presidency of Franklin D. Roosevelt. The programs focused on what historians refer to the 3 R's: relief for the unemployed and for the poor, recovery of the economical back to normal levels, and reform of the financial systems to prevent a repeat depression. The New Deal processed in political regime, making the Democratic Party the majority, as well as the party that held the White House for 7 out of the 9 presidential terms from 1933 to 1969, with its base in progressive ideas. The South, the big city machines, and the newly empowered labor unions, and various ethnic groups, the Republicans were split, with progressive Republicans in support, but conservatives opposing the entire New Deal as hostile to business and economic growth. Which, surprise, surprise.
We're still fighting that shit today, huh?
Yeah.
They want financial system reform, realignment, political. Oh, no, wait. Where are we at?
The realignment crystallized into the New Deal coalition that demanded presidential elections into the 1960s to propose conservative coalition largely controlled Congress and domestic affairs from 1937 to 1964. Here's a fun fact about all this stuff, okay? It put a lot of hurt on factories, the way they worked and everything. And because of something that happened in 1939, no, it happened in 1941, Pearl Harbor, December 12th, 1941. After that, we were at war with Germany, the Axis of power. It took Roosevelt deals upon deals to cut most of the stuff in the New Deal. He had to remove shit as fast as he possibly could because the makers of weapons
were unable to do their jobs because of his restrictive policies.
Yes, which because of that, we're having a problem with the military complex right now.
Elaborate on your problem.
Okay, the whole problem, going to war got us out of the Depression. Why did it get us out?
Because it boomed the industry.
It boomed the industry. It also caused us to have income tax, which now we have the IRS. The IRS was formed around that time frame too, I believe. Okay. IRS was created in July 1st, 1862. Really? Damn it. I was totally wrong. Totally fucking wrong.
Fucked a pooch on that one.
Yeah. You hear telltale stories and everything. And
That's what I love about research, man.
yeah. Okay. President Lincoln signed a second revenue measure for the Civil War into law. That law levied internal taxes and established a permanent internal tax system. Congress established the Office of Commerce of Internal Revenues under the Department of Treasury. Now,
Why was the IRS created? That was the next link below it.
okay. Origin, the root of the IRS is going back to the Civil War when President Lincoln Congress and then the pay for expenses. The income tax was repealed 10 years later. Okay.
So it was created to pay tax war expenses. They repealed it 10 years later, and now it's an everyday thing.
Yeah.
So we should repeal it again.
Ted Cruz was trying to do that for the longest time.
We need to abolish the IRS. The only reason, because we stay in war. We've been in war constantly.
Yeah. When was the income tax reestablished? 1913. What happened in 1913? Passage of the 16th Amendment effectively overturned the holdings in Pollock. The Revenue Act of 1930 passed after the 16th Amendment ratified and established the federal income tax. Okay.
The 16th Amendment, ratified in 1913, played a central role in building up the powerful American federal government of the 20th century by making it possible to enact a modern nationwide income tax.
It lowered the average tariff rates from 40% to 27%. Okay.
The federal government proposed the 16th Amendment in order to build a stronger central government. Some short-term effects of this amendment being ratified were the people were earning less money overall, so they were getting poorer. Also, corporations were losing some money as well. So the whole reason behind the IRS was to create a larger centralized government.
So they've been trying to make the centralized government since 1913. That was how we made the government used to make their monies back in the day, was not off the American people, it was off the other stuff that came into the United States. That's what tariffs are, added income from other products from other countries.
What is a tariff? A tariff is a tax imposed by the government of a country or by a supranational union on imports or exports of goods. Besides being a source of revenue, import duties can also be a form of regulation of foreign trade and policy that taxes foreign products to encourage or safeguard domestic industry. Why do we import something we do ourselves?
That's because
We're fattening the pockets.
That's the whole globalist scheme. Ideally, we are a very strong economy. And because of that, the idea of spreading the wealth to other countries, that's where you get the globalist idea. We have lots of money. So we'll buy from these people, create a good rapport with them. We'll buy some of your stuff, get you some money, and hopefully become a democratic republic, and we can safeguard freedom, blah, blah, blah. Now, is it a nice idea? Yes. Is it backfired on us constantly? Oh, yes. It has been thrown in our face so many fucking times.
I don't see how that's a good idea at all anyway.
Going back during Trump administration, he actually bumped up the tariffs. There's a reason why we had a lot of people buying American, because it was cheaper to get it transferred to us, most through travel and also through the tariffs. We can just, because I wanted to talk about something else that's happening. Because it's like the products that we're putting out right now, Apple Invade, all that new stuff that they're doing. The iPhone 15. It's coming out September 22nd. Yes, I'm going to buy it. Am I going to have to spend an extra $300 on it? Yeah. The reason why that is because they are getting away from the manufacturing from China and they're going to India. They try to push it underneath that 25% into India. They were trying to do it sly-like, underneath Chinese radar, which now China, the people in
Upper management,
they're not allowed to use Apple products anymore. And since it's a controlled government.
I thought Apple was manufactured mostly in China. I know that they have a percentage of it manufactured in India.
No. They're going more towards India. They have been moving everything to India, and all because of the pandemic.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. A lot of countries are now moving away from China, even though it's slave labor. And yes, it is slave labor. It's slave labor, and they're pushing other countries to where it's more of a secure guard. A lot of people are saying this. India's 10 years behind us on.
They just put somebody on the moon. I don't know if
No.
they'd sent a person, but India
sent-
just went to the moon.
They sent a rocket.
They sent a rocket
They sent a rocket to space.
to the moon, man. To the moon.
Okay, India successfully landed spacecraft on the moon's surface.
I don't know how to say that. Chandrian?
We'll let Stephen Hawking, the smart one of our group.
Chandran.
Chandran.
Chandran 3 is the third mission to the Chandran programming, a series of
Programming.
a series of lunar exploration missions developed by Indian Space Research. We put a man on the moon with the imperialism system, okay? We did that in the 60s.
Did we though?
Fucking Kenny, shut the fuck up on that.
Hey man, I'm not saying we didn't go to the moon. I'm just asking if we did.
We went to the fucking moon, Kenny. Man. Anyways,
But did we really?
I swear to God. Okay, from what everybody's saying, and this is just news in general, are saying that India is 10 years behind us. Now they're moving up. It might be a good thing because they've seen all of our mistakes and they can make improvements. Basically, what can happen now is India might be not a superpower, but a candidate. And that's the reason why a lot of the things are going to India and Thailand. Thailand's always made our chips. We have a very decent rapport with Thailand. But in about 10 more years, supposedly, maybe less, a lot of our equipment, our phones and everything might be a little bit more expensive only because we're going to start building chips in-house. In the United States, that's considered in-house.
Do you understand the whole process behind that? Manufacturing here, producing things there is all part of a globalist.
Yeah.
It's all
They've
part of
been-
globalism.
From what we're reading right now, it started like in the 1930s.
The world isn't.
Or 1913s.
You're going to section parts of the world for different types of manufacturing, producing, farming.
Yeah. But there's still people that want to go against the establishment. Which what's sad is going against the establishment now is going for the United States. Now is that sad? That's
How is going against the establishment pro-U.S.? Because the
okay.
US
Most of the
is-
people that are going against the establishment are actually wanting stuff to be built in the United States. Everything manufactured in the United States.
It's just
Look at
people wanting things to be done in house. They don't
Exactly.
they don't want to outsource everything. And that's not just the United States. Other countries are just
Yeah.
as similar.
But the thing is,
There are not a lot of free countries like the United States.
exactly.
We're-
But
we're free.
we're freer than most people. Oh, in hindsight, a lot of the policies that Trump did, he established it to where we're getting more stuff done in house.
Right, you create more jobs whenever you produce more things in house. Raises the prices of things up because no American wants to work for $3 an hour,
Well, not now.
$3 a day.
Here's the strange thing. Okay, this was We'll just go 1950s. The average income was 3,300. Okay, we'll take that 3,300. I guess you can only do it to 2022. No, it's the same.
And it's 40,000. 3,000 is now 40,000.
So
That's about right. You buy
Yeah.
a $3,000 car back in the 50s and 60s, and now they're like 40, 50,000. Well, a few years ago, there was $40,000, $50,000. Now they're 60 and 80.
that's all because of the Chinese virus.
The pandemic.
The pandemic, yes. And
Because Trump wasn't supposed to win in 2016. They had to undo everything he did. Biden's first term, do the things he was supposed to do his second term. So he's rushing everything in 3 years. That's the reason everything looks so fucked up. The plan. Now, have you ever read the plan for Agenda 2030?
I don't want to get into that right now. That's a whole nother episode.
But we're talking about the plan, man.
No, we're not going to talk about that. We're talking about other bullshit that we find on the internet. Yeah, I've seen that.
I didn't look this up.
You never seen this?
I seen the Joe Rogan deal, but I never looked into it. That looks.
Oh, it looks badass. But it's the same idea what we were talking about.
I would move there.
Well, okay. It's the same idea with this Oxford. Just because you have a stupid idea and you publish it, someone's going to use it. Because, okay.
You mean like 1984?
Yes, that's a stupid idea, but people want to do it now.
He gave them
He
the
gave
perfect
them a
idea.
fucking blueprint,
Yeah.
which we use
Well,
now.
it's not like they weren't doing it to begin with, but
Yeah. Which we found out. The internet was probably the worst thing for any government because now people are able to talk to each other. That's the reason why a lot of them are censoring
How come we don't hear anybody from North Korea talking?
because they censor the fuck out of them.
So it's not necessarily that the internet's a bad thing, because government can still control it.
Yeah, by
haven't
not
been
allowing
controlled.
to do it. You know what? The only computers that I call them computers. The only computers that are allowed are by government officials in North Korea.
I mean, you understand like the TikTok ban. I don't know. Did they pass that?
No.
So they were trying to pass internet neutrality for a long time.
The
And then
okay.
the TikTok ban came along, which made sense if you didn't dive into it. But it was just the title that they were trying to implement the
Yeah, they
network
were-
neutrality. Where
They were
could
trying to do
control
it to where
censor.
you couldn't use VPNs.
Yeah.
Okay, even though we're going totally off subject again, Bro Road.
It's going to take us 3 hours to make a 30-minute clip. Check this out.
The line in Saudi Arabia. You didn't see this?
No, I seen where they talked about it, but I don't have any idea what it's about.
Okay, I'll tell you the actual reasoning for this, okay? Oxford professor had an idea that if you create a neighborhood that's self-sufficient, so you don't have to use cars anymore. Now, saying
I
that,
thought that was the premise behind 15-minute cities, too.
same concept, but these motherfuckers actually built it.
Badass.
It is badass.
Sign
Look
me
at
up.
okay, think about this.
I don't want to live in a totalitarian society, but
No, it's
what would
Saudi
that be?
Arabia. Saudi Arabia is a monarchy, I think.
But regardless of the
they have a
economic
king
stature,
or
what would the society base be in a place like that? I mean, it would be a utopian type society. You wouldn't have
Every
any
time- every-
manufacturing. It would just be living there, right? Living, harvesting. Do they have greenhouses and stuff in there? Or is it just like living quarters and shopping centers? The area is intended to become so self-efficient that it is being referred to as a country within a country, whereas residents will be called, I don't know what the fuck, how do you say that?
Neomans rather than
Neomans.
Saudis.
Okay, now I'm trying to think that something like this in my head.
I visualized one of these, but it would have been in like a dome, a
Okay,
circular
yeah.
type city.
Yeah.
I don't know about a line because that kind of creates an end point and a start point. You got to get from A to B.
The whole idea of this is you're not going from point A to point B.
Oh, they just want you to sit in place.
Yeah,
Be
that's
happy
that's
where
the
you're at.
that yeah, that's the general idea of it. But our genetic memory, I would love to do an episode about just genetic memory. We're going back and talking about the line. We're trying to figure out with this project how people are going to make money.
It would not make money. How are they going to? So if you
What-
live in a
what would
society
be
like
the
that, how do you
purpose?
contribute?
Yeah.
So it's going to cost you money to ride, or cost you credits, or unless everything
No,
is
they're gonna
just
be- they're
entirely
gonna-
free.
No.
You roll
okay.
around and you go to the cafeteria and you eat
What-
for free.
What
or-
that okay? Here's the sketch. Stretches for 100 miles. The line will serve as a home for 9 million people. Here we go. Reducing commutes. They don't want cars there. The whole thing is basically your walking distance.
Is that where your what are those people that call tell you
Uber?
about your extended warranties?
Oh,
Call centers.
Call center.
So is this going to be like
No,
a,
no, no,
a
no.
9
No,
million
okay.
people call center
no.
housing development project?
Okay. They're not paying for expenses, cars, fuels, and parking, which means the higher disposable incomes. But it's also the basic factor of climate change. The reason why they have this is a utopia idea a professor in Oxford came up with. Prospectus on 15-minute cities.
I understand the concept behind a 15-minute city. I understand the concept behind the
Yeah, but that's the
100-mile
reason.
wall.
That's the reason why they're doing the
How will they?
laws.
What will they do to be productive? Give back to their utopia. Are you going to have like certain people involved
it's-
in maintaining the water system? You got people re-engineering the electric grid. Are you going to have people coming up with new ways for electricity? And so whether they're just living free in this free city, I mean, the people have to contribute somehow. So this
They're just living places.
okay, so this big ass living place
Yeah.
is going to cost lots of billions of dollars to build. How is it going to pay its investors back?
It's not.
I can't imagine anybody
Okay.
on the planet giving away $500 billion.
You can't imagine that because you're not a ruling class.
How will working be in a 15-minute city? What kind of work will there be? It would have to be an office. I can't imagine they do any kind of industrial type of work. 'Cause
Well, you can put a factory there.
factories produce pollution. And
Okay, yeah. I don't know. That's actually a good question. I don't have to think about it.
And there would have to be some kind of office jobs, or they would have to work in the water systems or plumbing and electrical, something to keep the grid up. Make it better for the next generation.
The way they're thinking they're making it better for the next generation is because their carbon footprint. They're not thinking innovation.
We should make things that last. Things aren't made to last anymore. We're getting way off the 15-minute cities. People have to work. They have to have a purpose. Without a purpose, you have no reason to live. You're just going to sit around and eat fucking grapes all day.
I don't know what would be the point anyways with that line in Saudi Arabia, other than living.
I mean, other than creating an example of a utopian type society, it still has to connect and contribute to the world.
Or
as
at
a
least
whole.
to the Saudi Arabia.
They were talking about it being 100% self-sustainable.
Yeah.
What are they going to lab grow their meat so you can get some kind of protein?
That is actually what a lot of people are wanting to go to.
If you were to create a utopian-based society and you were 100% independent, do you have any kind of farm animals? You're going to lab grow your own proteins based on what?
I'm curious.
I mean, that's the thing is all of these Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, everything sounds great. But once you start to put it into practice or think about the sustainability, just the day-to-day monotonous imports, exports, the living, the lifestyle of it, it starts to break down, I think. I mean, unless somebody knows about it, tell me. I would more than welcome that conversation.
And that's the end of the episode, everybody. We're gonna probably do a part 2 sometime on this. We're gonna go do a little bit more research, some other stuff that we're looking through. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.